Hey guys, thanks for checking out another recipe with BoneHead Waterfowl. And thanks for checking out our second video on our Sous Vide 101 mini series. So we already showed you how to do steak with this thing. And today, what better way to kick it off with waterfowl? We're gonna do some duck. So I was able to get out and do some hunting a couple days ago. I have got some fresh mallard breast here with the skin on. This has not been soaked in salt water. It has not been marinated. Literally harvested it off the duck, put it in a Ziploc. It's been in the fridge for a couple days, and we're gonna use it to make a great recipe. Again, super simple. I'm just showing you how this sous vide can make almost any meat taste amazing. So we're gonna dive into it today. We're gonna keep it super simple. I've got my, my mallard breast dried off. We're gonna go ahead, we're gonna season it, we're gonna seal it, and we're gonna submerge it, and then we're gonna finish it off with a sear. So let's get cooking. All right guys, also I forgot to point out, go ahead, if you're leaving the skin on these mallards, go ahead and score that a little bit. You're just cutting through the fat, you're not cutting into the meat. Usually try to do about 2 slices that way, 3 slices up. Knife needs sharpened, don't have time. So today I'm keeping it very simple. I'm using some Cavender's all-purpose seasoning and then Montreal steak. It's an easy seasoning to find. Everybody should have some sort of variation like that in their pantry. So gonna go ahead, hit this with a nice light cover. That's that Cavender's, which is great. And then don't be shy on this Montreal steak seasoning. This stuff's always good on wild game. Okay, and next we're just gonna go ahead and flip it and do the same thing on this side. Don't be afraid to rub that meat in there. This is gonna sit here for a few minutes. We're gonna get the vacuum sealer ready. All right, boneheads, our meat is sealed. I'm gonna pop this out now. Now, as you can see, I've got 2 duck breasts in here. I used about a tablespoon, or I used 4 tablespoons of butter. I usually do about 1.5 to 2 tablespoons of butter per duck breast, but it seals in there just nice and tight. We've got that butter positioned around, so it's gonna start to melt. And we're gonna go ahead and get this ready. And because I used a smaller bag here, actually, we'll just see. I'm gonna drop that duck breast in and everything. So I didn't know if everything would get submerged and I'd still be able to clip that edge of the bag under the lid, but that worked just fine. So we've got our duck breast submerged. I have this set at 128 degrees and I'm gonna go for an hour and a half. And then we're gonna sear these on a cast iron skillet here in the house. So everything is submerged. Gonna go ahead and let that butter start to melt and do its work, do its thing. All right guys, it's been an hour and a half. Just bumped up the timer a couple extra minutes so we could get the pan ready. But look at all that butter. That butter's melted, it's surrounded that duck breast. That rubs in there. Tell you what, there's a lot of flavor sitting in there. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna take the meat out of the bag. It's gonna go on the plate. We're gonna re-season it with some of that Montreal steak. At the same time, I've got my cast iron pan warming up. You can start to see the smoke coming off of there. And I've got some bacon fat or some bacon grease I'm gonna throw down in there, let that melt. And as soon as that's done melting, we're gonna go ahead and put our duck breasts in skin side down and start to sear these, so stay tuned. All right, so the duck's done. Remember, we've got that perfect internal temperature right now. We're just looking to sear it. I'm gonna let it cook a little bit more on this side because we got that skin side down. So we're gonna let that fat start to render off this duck breast, and then we'll flip it. We'll get a little bit of a sear on this side, and then depending, we'll see how it does. Occasionally these duck breasts will start to curl up, which if they do, I'll show you how we handle that as well. So let's give these a minute or 2 here. Man, it looks good, it smells good. So we're gonna go ahead and flip these. Look at that color from that skin starting to render down. Now, remember how I told you these duck breasts will curl? See how those edges right there are kind of starting to come up and fold up? A good trick is take an extra cast iron pan and set that on top of that meat and it'll help, the weight of that pan will help hold it down so you get a nice even cook on those breasts. Now, we're already going to have that even temperature, but this will help get that even sear on the outside. We're going to hold this for about a minute. We're going to pull them off, let them rest for just a couple minutes, and we'll slice into them here. All right, that's a good sear. Go ahead and set these off to the side. We're going to let these rest for about a minute or two. You can put a little butter on these and let it melt off of it, but I think they're going to be about perfect. Tell you what, that's not a bad picture right there. Little BoneHead logo. Nice Mallard breast. All right, we're going to go ahead and cut into this. Look at that. Perfect, medium rare, which is how duck should be ate. When you start overcooking duck, it dries out, it gets tough and gamey, and that's why a lot of people don't like duck. A little bit of that tenderloin there on the bottom. That's what we call a chef snack. I'm gonna have a little bit of that right now. Oh my goodness. Wow. Again, that's what you get with the Sous Vide. Total temperature control from top to bottom on that piece of meat. Absolutely. All right, BoneHeads, we tried that piece of tenderloin here. Now I'm going to cut open a piece of this breast. I mean, if you haven't liked duck before, try cooking it this way. I'm telling you, it's going to give you the most consistent, tender, and flavorful result that you can get on a duck. My goodness. The tenderness is out of this world. I've never had I've never cooked a more tender piece of duck than in the Sous Vide. You get that butter that it's cooking in, you get a little bit of that rub that we put on it. We finished it on the cast iron. If you finish it on the grill, it adds even another flavor there. But this is awesome. And you get a little bit of that skin that has rendered down. I'm telling you, you serve this to somebody, I guarantee it's completely different than whatever duck they've had before if they're not used to eating wild game. This is absolutely delicious. I'm telling you guys, Sous Vide 101 with a duck breast, this was a home run. Stay tuned for our next one as we're going to try to do the same thing with a goose breast. Thanks, guys. This is so good. Wow.